Welcome back to predictions. Just me again. However, this time around, my brother has remembered to do predictions. Way! But first of all, we need to get into the Italian GP's predictions results. A pretty good weekend from me in terms of qualifying, getting a good haul of points. None for Norris and Colapinto and Behrman, but I do manage to get double points for the McLaren's 2-3. My brother, unfortunately, only gets 5 points from the teammates, missing out completely on the second half of the grid, going for all of the wrong ones, but getting a point each for everyone in the top 3. And the AI, almost the exact opposite. Would have been the exact opposite had they got a point for Behrman, but they kind of make up with it for getting 2 points Norris P2 and a Verstappen P1. Piastri, sorry. I need to change how these points look, yeah. I keep thinking it's based on this order, but no, it's based on these order over here. Anyway, in terms of the race, went slightly better for me, gaining an extra point. However, Stroll and Norris won out in their teammate rivalries this weekend. My brother makes a little bit of a comeback with only missing out on 3, Bortoleto, Stroll and Russell. And the AI misses out on a little less as well. Leclerc, Stroll, Gasly, Hadjar and Bortoleto. I get a point each for Norris and Piastri on the podium. My brother gets a point each for everyone and an extra point for Piastri P3. And the AI gets a point for Verstappen and 2 points for Piastri P3. No, sorry, point for Norris P1, P2. Norris on the podium. And overall, there were 4 penalties this weekend that in the race. Now I did check this. You get a point. Antonelli, his penalty. Behrman, his penalty. And the third penalty, which is a definite, easy, no one can say otherwise penalty, was Ocon. What did Ocon do? I don't even remember Ocon. It says here he forced another driver off the track. I can't remember. Forced Stroll off the track. Oh yeah, I remember. Anyway, now there's 3 other documents here that were, well, 4 other documents listed as infringements, which are usually penalties. One of them is race deleted lap times, so that don't count. Another 2 is for Stroll and Alonso. They failed to follow race directors' instructions before the race started. They crossed back into the pit exit road when exiting the pits during the reconnaissance laps. However, they both only got warnings. The other thing was Carlos Sainz's failure to follow race directors' instructions as well. However, this was during the race, and it was when he didn't use the escape road at turn 4 after missing turn 4. This was given a reprimand. Now, is a reprimand penalty or not? That's what me and my brother discussed until I looked at the 2024 regulations, I believe the 2025 ones have not changed this regulation. If they have, then this is relevant. But under Article 54.3, Article 54 is incidents during the sprint race or a race. Article 54.3 begins off saying the stewards may impose any one of the penalties below on a driver involved in an incident. The penalties listed are 5-second time penalty, 10-second time penalty, and then it says in both of those above cases the driver must carry out the penalty next time he pits. Includes if he pits under the SC or safety car. The third one is a drive-through penalty. Fourth one is a 10-second stop and go penalty. And then it says if any of the four are imposed upon a driver and that driver is unable to serve a penalty, the stewards may impose a grid penalty for the next race. And if any of the four are imposed during the last 3 laps or after the sprint or race session, an article below will not apply, and 5 seconds will be added to the time in the case of A, 10 seconds in the case of B, 20 seconds in the case of C, and 30 seconds in the case of D. 54.4 is should the stewards decide to impose any of the penalties under 54.3A, B, C, or D. It's just basically stuff like give a written notification, they'll be notified, etc., etc. Basically, how to serve the penalty. Then number E, penalty listed E is a time penalty. 6 is a reprimand. 7 is a drop of any number of grid positions at the driver's next race. Now, obviously, this could be constructed as a way, I mean, I did for a while because I couldn't read apparently. I took it as it could mean that those are all penalties, but the way the next sentence is literally worded, it means that the reprimand is by definition a penalty, because it says if any of the 7 penalties above are imposed, they shall not be subject to appeal. Basically, the 7 penalties that I listed are penalties, so a reprimand does count as a penalty, and so there are 4 penalties across the weekend, across the race. Another thing to note, 2 extra penalties can be imposed, which means these 2 can be appealed, which is disqualification and suspension from the next competition. Not that that matters anyway. The reason this was so highly contested by me was because I, if you remember, chose 3 penalties. So if a reprimand was a penalty, it didn't count as points for me. If it wasn't a penalty, then it was points for me. So I just wanted to make that clarification known, and therefore no points for me. This does mean across the weekend, 19 points are scored by both me and my brother, with 15 from the AI. How does this affect the championship? I am now on 309 points, with my brother on 321 and the AI on 275. Obviously, the points gap remains at 12. Could have been 7, but isn't. And in terms of the actual championships, the championship predictions, I've got 42 points in the drivers, 3 more than my brother has. However, 13 points less than the AI has on 55. But in the constructors, it's flipped a little bit, with me on 14 points, my brother on 21, and the AI on 19. So, how am I going to try and score points in Azerbaijan? Well, let me show you. P3 in qualifying, I have chosen Norris. my brother has gone Piastri, and the AI has gone Verstappen. In P2, I have gone for Charles Leclerc, Azerbaijan specialist. Got 4 poles in the last 4 seasons. However, I don't think he's going to get it this time around, and so does my brother. With the AI choosing Norris. And in P1, I've gone with Piastri, so is the AI, and my brother has gone Norris. At Sauber, I believe Bortoletto is going to be the winner out again. So does my brother, with the AI choosing Hulkenberg. At Williams, I'm the Lone Ranger going Sainz. At RB, it's a triple Hadjar. At Haas, my brother is the only one going Ocon. At Alpine, my brother is the only one going Gasly. At Aston Martin, it's a triple Alonso. Same at Mercedes with a triple Russell. And at Red Bull, it's a triple Verstappen. At Ferrari, the AI is the odd one out going with Hamilton. And at McLaren, I'm the odd one out going with Piastri. Now, for the race in P3, I have gone for Verstappen. My brother has gone Leclerc, and the AI has chosen Norris. In P2, I've gone Norris. My brother has gone Verstappen, and the AI has chosen Piastri. Meaning that the winners, I think, is going to be Piastri, my brother thinks Norris, and the AI thinks Leclerc. I would love for that to come in true. But since there is literally no tangible evidence to support this, the AI has just chosen this on a random win, so it will not happen at all. However, at Sauber, it's a more done deal. But I'm the only one that thinks so. Going Bortoletto. Over at Williams, the AI is the only one going for Sainz. At RB, the AI is also the only one going Lawson. At Haas, it's a triple Bearman. At Alpine, my brother is the only one going Gasly. At Aston Martin, it's a triple Alonso. At Mercedes, the AI is the only one with Antonelli. At Red Bull, the AI is the only one with Tsunoda. At Ferrari, the AI is the only one with Hamilton. And at McLaren, I am once again the only one with Piastri. So, what does this mean for the random prediction? Well, it had nothing to do with the random prediction. What is the random prediction is what I should have said. Most points scored by a team. Obviously, it's a bit of an obvious one, how much each of us think. I think a 1-2 from McLaren, therefore the maximum points, 43, and therefore they'll seal the constructors. My brother thinks that they're going to be a 1-4, apparently. So he has 37. And I asked my brother how should we do the AI point to it just be random or what they put. And my brother said what they put. So with a 2-3 from McLaren, that's obviously going to be 33 points. I just want to check something actually. If Ferrari get a yes, obviously. I'm just going to pretend that the AI says that Hamilton is not going to finish 4th. Hmm. 8 point. Where do you? What do you? Who? Where? What position are you in 8? Yeah, for 8 points. So you sit. You 6th. You're 6th. Hmm. Is it reasonable for the AI to think that Hamilton is going to be 6th or less? based on the random numbers, Piastri had a 60% chance of winning. Norris had a 30% chance. Charles with a 7% chance. Lewis with a 1% chance. Russell with a 1% chance. Verstappen with a 0.3%. Tsunoda with a 0.04%. Antonelli with less than a 0.1%. Alonso had more of a chance of winning, apparently. And Stroll even less. And the screenshot that I have to show proof does not go down to show everyone else because it's not necessary, which fair enough. Based on that, if it was to do it by biggest first, it would obviously say Piastri first, and then Norris, and then Leclerc, and then it would show George, and then Lewis. So I'm going to say that it thinks Lewis will be fifth. Therefore, that would be 25 plus 10 points, so 35. I'm changing the AI's prediction. Not that it's going to come true anyway, because Ferrari are not going to win. It's most likely going to be a McLaren 1-2. So that's that. I do just want to put one point of note. If you remember back to the beginning of the season, we said that we would do a prediction that links to Formula 2 and Formula 3. If you pay attention to Formula 3, you know that it was the season finale last time out in Monza. Guess what we didn't do? The Formula 3 prediction. But because we repeated two predictions back in Britain and Belgium, we get two spare. Hopefully that's obviously going. One of them's obviously going to be the F3 winner prediction because we can't do that anymore. Hopefully the other one is how many times Crofty says a certain word. But who knows? And I am going to make sure that we do the Formula 2 prediction in Qatar, and that we do the lizard interruptions in Singapore next time out. I was going to say next week, but it's not next week, it's 2 weeks. And that the final one is obviously the Abu Dhabi race time down to a second prediction. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed whatever. I don't know. How can you enjoy like that? I don't know. Anyway, that's all from me. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.